Welcome to the Art of Classiness podcast, a show where we redefine what it means to be a classy lady. And sometimes it's messy. I'm Robin.
And I'm Deborah, two friends turned classy ladies who are here to discuss life's ups and downs, navigating the complexities of adulthood, and how the gift of friendship is essential to belonging.
Today we're busting some of the biggest myths about friendship, the kind of rules and assumptions we've all been taught, but that don't actually hold up in real life.
From the idea that you can't make lifelong friends as an adult, to the so-called girl code around crushes, to whether you can actually stay friends with an ex, we're pulling it all apart.
Some of these rules are outdated, some are toxic, and some just need a little reframing.
So follow along, give us your feedback, and don't forget to like and subscribe. What's up, classy ladies and gentlemen? Robin, how is it going today? Great.
I've talked about this before, and I've been calling it acne.
Mm-hmm.
But since seeing my doctor, doing blood work, etc., it turns out this is actually an autoimmune flare-up.
Oh, great.
So every time I have a massive flare-up, it seems to present itself differently. And so yet again, I am surprised. So my skin barrier is compromised. And yeah, it is showing itself in acne, but it also has completely changed the texture of my skin.
Mm.
It feels kind of scaly. I feel like an alligator or something. I don't know.
No.
It's really difficult because it's, this is what people look at.
Right.
This is what I look at. And so going out in public has been really difficult for me. I haven't really felt motivated to get out, but I'm working with my doctor. I'm on a new regimen. It makes sense why the juice cleanse seemed like it helped because it did lower my inflammation.
Mm-hmm.
But then when I started eating regular food again, because it's a juice cleanse is not going to fix my problem. It just helped enough for things to start cooling off.
Mm-hmm.
So that should have been an indication for me. But yeah, looking back, it makes sense. And hopefully we can get things back to the way they were. I'm trying to have gratitude because it could be so much worse. I've had, full body hives.
Right.
I've lost my hair. But yeah, that's been a struggle for me.
Well, I'm so sorry that you're going through that. And it is so frustrating, even just hearing about the ups and downs of your autoimmune journey, because it's you get hope that you've turned a corner and that you have finally figured out the perfect routine or mix of supplements or medication. And then when that changes, I can't imagine how frustrating that must be.
It's a moving target. I can't figure it out. And, when we talk about starting a family, I get really worried about what that's going to do to my body during pregnancy, after pregnancy, especially just because of how wrecked your body is, how crazy your hormones get. And
right.
Yeah, it's a lot. It's a lot.
It is a lot. And I'm sure it's very easy to overthink, but you have enough on your plate. You don't need to project fears and anxiety about the future, just try to focus on the present and take it one day at a time. But I'm kind of curious among our listeners, if you are kind of dealing with the same types of struggles, autoimmune or just flare-ups and hives, I would love to hear some of our listeners' experiences as well, because there's so many people that have started to endure this post-pandemic. COVID wreaked havoc on our lives in a way that people don't understand.
Yes, it is most certainly a product of the pandemic, whether it was COVID itself or the vaccine or both. Mine and Seth's health changed drastically after 2020. And for both of us to be having that problem and it's showing itself in different ways. And then I know so many people who have also been diagnosed with autoimmune disorders. People in our classy ladies group. Right. Another one of my best friends who actually I sent her to my doctor and he helped her. And she's been feeling better than she has the last several years.
Oh, great.
It's definitely a thing.
Yeah.
It's definitely a thing.
Well, definitely sending good vibes your way. Hopefully you can plateau and get back and at least feel comfortable in your own skin.
Yeah. That's the goal.
Mm-hmm.
What's funny is I gotta laugh about this, right? Like, I'm so mortified by what my face looks like right now, on top of like hating my haircut.
Oh.
I'm just like,
Oh, no.
don't want to look.
I know.
Anyway, how are you?
I mean, I don't it feels weird to complain about anything after, hearing that. I am going to be one with the couch as soon as we are done recording this. It's going to be awesome.
Nice. That sounds great.
My fave.
Are you going to watch Shrinking?
I need to watch Shrinking. I went to start it last night, and instead I watched hours of TikTok.
Yeah.
Just couldn't get away from the doom scroll. I was actually disgusted with myself when I went to bed. I was like, that was too much. Girl, you went too hard on that app last night.
I feel that way sometimes.
You're like, what have I done with my life, my brain? Oh my God. So yeah, it would be nice to actually engage with a new show and maybe Shrinking. But I will tell you, side note, I'm kind of thinking about rewatching Lost.
Dude, I was just thinking about that the other day.
Like, again, in my doom scroll, came across one fan edit of Lost, and I was like, oh my God, Lost. And then I fell down the rabbit hole. And so now every fifth video is a fan edit on Lost.
Mm-hmm.
And I'm like, should I do it? I mean, it's a big undertaking, but I loved that show.
I can't remember if I told you this, but like, I don't know, a couple months ago, randomly, I decided to go down this huge rabbit hole with ChatGPT about Lost.
Oh.
Like one day I was like, I need all the answers. And I spent hours just asking all these questions and like.
Yes. So many theories.
Yeah.
And like, obviously the internet was a thing and YouTube was a thing when Lost came out. But now there are just so many creators and so many different mediums to discuss that show that were not really available or easily accessible at that time. So I feel like it would be kind of fun to do right now. But I also am like, this is too much of a commitment.
Do you remember when?
Yeah. Yeah.
Guys, we, at our Irish pub, place of work, Deborah and I wanted to have a Lost finale watch party.
Oh, yeah.
And I made flyers.
They were awesome. It was the Lost. You know how in the show Lost, it would be like, and like the logo would fly off the screen like an airplane. So it was the Lost tilted logo on a Guinness pint. Brilliant.
Is that what it was?
That's what it was.
I don't even remember what it looked like.
Yeah, it was the Lost logo on a pint of Guinness because
I did that?
Yes, you did that. And I was going to host a Lost-themed trivia. And I promoted it all week and like 3 people showed up for it. That was it. And I begged and begged. I'm like, can we please put it on the TVs? Please, 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 please. And John O'Brien was like, no, we're not putting it on the TV. And then Keith came in to manage. And I was like, please, Keith. And he was like, fine. And he like let us watch it in like a corner of the pub.
He gave us one TV.
He gave us one TV with the audio on. And I watched it and I cried so hard. And then we danced the night away at the gay bar across the street.
Wow.
Yeah.
See, I don't remember that night at all.
I do.
But it sounds great.
It was a great time. Okay, well, let's get into our classy conversation today. We are busting some serious friendship myths. Are your friendships being held hostage by old rules that don't even make sense anymore? Today, we are going to debunk 5 of the biggest myths about friendship. From you can't make real friends as an adult to true friends never let you down. We're going to be unpacking the most common myths about friendships, exploring why we believe them, while they fall apart in practice, and how friendships actually thrive when we stop playing by our outdated rules.
I love that we're addressing this topic today because I think subconsciously we do believe several of these myths and we apply them arbitrarily, however it makes sense in that scene, or we decide that it is a myth in other scenarios. You know what I mean?
Mm-hmm.
So let's just bust them.
Yeah.
Let's reframe this way of thinking.
Yeah, let's crack these open and we'll decide, are these myths worth carrying forward or should we reframe how we play by the rules of friendship? Who is she?
Okay, so let's get started. Myth number 1, you can't make lifelong friends as an adult. The reason why people believe this is that childhood and college friendships feel the purest because of shared milestones. You're growing up together and the sheer amount of time spent together. It's a different kind of lifestyle that you're living during that time period. So society can tend to frame those are the only real lifelong friendships because those friends were a part of like these pivotal moments in your life, right?
Yeah, absolutely. And obviously, those friendships can be so important and so special because they've known you. If they've stuck around, they've known you in every phase of life. And there is a lot of comfort in that. And I'm not going to ever say that, hey, that person, they're not your best friend just because they happen to grow up in the same town as you. Like, let's face it, when we're younger, we have so many friends and very few make it to the adult and then later adult stage. So I think there is something to cherishing those friendships. But I think one of the disadvantages, honestly, of that myth is we sometimes overlook that when you know somebody from when you're so little, there's a part of you that's kind of anchored at that age, you know? Now, true friends will allow you to flourish as you grow and watch you transform and support you no matter what. But every once in a while, you might have somebody that really will only ever reference the past. They're not really talking about the future anymore. And
Mm-hmm.
that can be a weird anchor that can be hard to grow from?
Yeah. And I feel like the friendships from childhood that you do bring into your adulthood, like there is an ebb and flow. I think sometimes you have to grow apart before you grow back together. You know what
Mm-hmm.
I mean?
Yeah.
And like as an adult, you get to decide for yourself if you think this friendship still holds value. You're able to discern whether or not this friendship that you built a foundation on so long ago, like as an adult, your friendships become more value based and intentional versus circumstantial. And so those childhood friends that were once circumstantial now need to meet those values that you hold, or at least some of them,
Mm-hmm.
so that you have this mutual belief system.
Yeah, I think that's a good point. And I think the other side of this coin feels true because it is hard to make good friends as an adult.
So hard.
And I think it's because your circumstances change a lot. So, your childhood friends, they can bank a long period of time where your life is relatively the same, right? You're going to the same high school, you're playing the same sports, or maybe you have then attended the same college. Your life changes so much as an adult, from the cities that you live in to the jobs that you work to maybe even the hobbies that you have, right? So, you can make really fast and furious friendships as an adult that fizzle out only because you no longer see each other as regularly as you have, right? We've talked about this before when we talk about work friendships. Sometimes those friendships feel so close and intense, and then it will shock you that when you are no longer in the same company that like you're not hanging out all the time.
Drops right off.
They drop right. Maybe you didn't even get an invite to the wedding, like it's crazy how quickly. So I can understand why people believe the myth that it's really hard to make lifelong friends as an adult. But I do think that this is a myth that needs to be reframed. If for no other reason than I need to believe that like there are more friends for me to make out there at this point in my life. Like I love the friends I have, but like I have to believe that there are more out there that will love me and I will love as much as my most cherished friendships.
Absolutely. And I think I sent you a TikTok the other day where this woman talks about how every 7 years you kind of like cycle through a new set of friends. Like there's a certain percentage that kind of fall out and another percentage that comes in, and you're just like you're meant to be making friends for your entire life.
Mm-hmm.
In fact, we have a statistic. A 2021 AARP study found that 37% of adults reported making a best friend after age 30, which is proof that it's never too late.
I love that. And side note, whoever signed me up for the AARP mailing list, you can go get fucked. I don't know who thought it would be funny to start signing me up for AARP stuff. I am too young to be receiving this publication in the mail. And I just want to call whoever did it hilarious. Well done. But it wasn't me.
Do you read it?
No, but I hear that if you are a member, you actually get really good discounts, and anybody at any age can become a member of AARP.
Okay.
There you go.
There you go. Well, actually, this is a great segue. We have a pop culture example as well, and that's Grace and Frankie.
Mm-hmm.
These women in their, 70s?
Yeah.
Whose lives kind of fall apart and they're left to lean on each other. And that's just proof that deep life-altering friendships can begin super late in life.
Yes. And quite frankly, I actually have never seen Grace and Frankie. I'm waiting until I'm a little bit older for it to like really land with me a bit more, but I'm ready for it. I'm ready. But I will say, I love this idea of making friends at that later stage in life, because how much more fun is like your retirement community going to be, you know, once you can like really meet somebody new? I hear those places are litty AF. The villages in Florida, are you kidding me? They have like a whole different I won't even say what I'm about to say, but like they go hard down there. That's all I'm going to say.
I bet. And they stay warm.
And they stay warm. So let's bust the myth that you can't make lifelong friends when you get older, because it's really never too late to create deep and meaningful relationships. They don't have to have known you or have pictures of you when you were in high school in order for you to call a new person your best friend.
Yeah. Well, and sometimes the people that you meet later understand you best because you understand yourself better.
Right.
Like when you have a better sense of self, a better sense of understanding for who you are, what your values are, what you want in life, you're going to attract those same kind of people.
Mm-hmm. Right.
And I mean, that's how you make your best friends, is when you just have this mutual understanding of certain things that are aligned. And when those things aren't aligned, like you don't really have interest in being friends with those people, and you don't have to pretend to be friends with them either, like you did in high school, college, you know, just because of proximity.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, that's the best part about getting older, is you care less about what people think, and you get what you get. You know, sometimes you just don't have any more fucks to give, and that's okay.
Yeah. Yep. It's more than okay.
Mm-hmm.
That's the dream.
It's the best part. All right. Myth number 2. If your friend has a crush on someone, they're off limits forever.
This one is a little controversial.
It is. It definitely is.
Let's talk about why people believe this. There's the girl code and bro code culture.
Mm-hmm.
Fear, betrayal, jealousy, or being seen as disloyal. This is, again, like younger years kind of mentality, maybe even into your 20s, early to mid 20s.
Yeah.
When you are spending so much time with the same people. And so, like, it could hurt more if your friend finds out you have a crush on the same person that they have a crush on. Like, emotions are heightened.
Emotions are heightened. And this is definitely, I mean, for the most part, a young person's problem, because you're so right. The odds of your friend group all being single, those chances are higher in your 20s, right? Before people start settling down. Like at this point, I'm competing with no one, right? I'm like the only single person in our friend group. Unless it's a crush on somebody's husband, which is not going to happen. Like,
and
I'm not
now
really
that
in this
is
space.
off limits.
No, that's off limits. Okay, that is absolutely off limits. But yeah, I mean, when you're younger, this is such a crazy hormonal time, and I will say, like, I have broken this code before. But here is my thing. Here is my argument. Okay, and I actually recently saw a TikTok about this, where someone was like, the guy that my friend has had a crush on for a year just slid into my DMs. Like, what do I do? And the overwhelming response in the comments was, she had a crush on him for a year, and either she didn't do anything about it or he didn't do anything about it. That relationship was never going to happen, and it was going nowhere. Like, what was she waiting for? What was he waiting for? When guys like someone, this is exactly what they do. They show it. And so
That's true.
it sucks that your friend's going to be hurt, but like that guy was never going to be into your friend.
Yeah.
Otherwise, he would have been into your friend. And as shitty as that sound, that was kind of my defense when it happened to me in high school. Like a girl I was friends with really pined for. Now, we pined for him together. We would often make jokes like, oh my God, did you see what he was wearing today? Like, oh my God, his shirt's so cute. And I thought it was just kind of a lighthearted thing. I didn't realize she had like deep feelings for him. And when I was available, like he came on to me, and I was really conflicted about it, because I'm like, what am I supposed to tell him? Like, no, I can't because so-and-so has had a crush on you. Like, and then she started dating his friend. I'm like, okay, cool. Well, I guess we're all just doing our own thing. And
Yeah.
that was the friendship ender
Oh,
because,
really?
yeah, things got weird and it wasn't really a friendship that was meant to be. Turns out it wasn't really a relationship that was meant to be either. But my kind of defense line at that time was like, nothing ever happened when you guys were around each other. He never made a move on you. You never made a move on him. It was never going to happen. Like, what do you want me to do? Like, just hide out in my house for the next year and never run into him or see him again? Like, I took the selfish route at that time, but I still kind of believe all of those things. Like, a crush is one thing, but if no one is doing anything about it, then it's really just an idea.
Well, and people don't own other people.
Right. Right.
Like, crushes tend to fade,
Mm-hmm.
and blocking every potential connection can breed resentment. And it sounds like it did
Yeah. Mm-hmm.
in this situation. Like, respect is important, but so is autonomy. And especially in high school, like, I mean, the things happen so fast when you're that young.
So quickly. So quickly. Things go from 0 to 60 overnight. And yeah, those were like our peak hormonal years.
Yeah, like, it's the biggest betrayal of your life. You'll never get over it.
No.
I get it.
Mm-hmm.
I remember that mentality when I was that young. Absolutely.
Yeah. Now, I'm trying to think of how that would play out in my life right now, but I kind of feel like, A, when you're older, obviously you have more self-respect. So I think if I was in that situation where I knew somebody had a crush on someone and that person was coming on to me, I think I would just be very open and honest about like, hey, this person asked to go out for coffee. I told them I had to think about it. I just wanted to kind of talk to you about this because I don't want to put us in a weird situation.
Yeah.
I think that's the most respectful thing you could do. But if that friend was like, yeah, I would be really uncomfortable because you obviously know I like him.
Yeah.
That would be a friendship turnoff to me, quite frankly.
And that's actually a really good way to reframe this myth is just talk about it, communicate. Friendship loyalty is about honesty, not about permanent dibs.
Mm-hmm.
Just because your friend has dibs and you get asked on a date, you're not breaking some sort of girl code. You're not.
Right.
The most mature, classy, securely attached way to approach it is to just communicate and then decide from there what you want to do.
Mm-hmm.
Like, see how they respond, see how the conversation goes. It'll tell you a lot about the friendship, too.
Right. Let me ask you this. What if it's not just a crush? What if it's someone that your friend dated?
Okay, so guilty.
Okay, good. I'm not the only one. I'm not the only one.
I did do that. I dated a guy in high school who dated my friend in middle school.
Oh, middle school, please.
But still, like, she was my best friend. My best friend. And so this was, like a couple years later, right? This is when we were in 7th grade, he was in 8th grade, and then we were freshmen, he was a sophomore, I think. We dated for like a month or two, and I still think about that sometimes. I still feel bad about that. Like, I think she took it well enough, but honestly, pretty shitty on my part.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
But yeah, I've done it.
Right.
I regret it, but our friendship remains intact.
Okay. Okay. You made it through.
Honestly, the fact that she was such a big person is the reason why we're friends today.
Mm-hmm.
So I'm grateful to that because, like, no boy should come between a friendship.
Right. I think once you cross the realm into like we were in a relationship or like we were in love, then I think you are really choosing a man over a friend, right? So I think that there's definitely a spectrum and a few opportunities for you to not cross that boundary,
Yeah.
This is definitely a rule that we see play out in pop culture and definitely reinforced in pop culture. Like, I mean, Mean Girls is such an iconic reference when Regina George, the Queen Mean Girl, is super possessive of her on-again, off-again boyfriend, Aaron Samuels.
Yeah. He's off limits.
Off limits.
To everyone, even if you don't know her.
Yeah.
Psychotic.
Yeah. Yeah. So, I mean, I think we've seen it there. And then obviously Friends when we had kind of the weird storyline of Rachel and Joey trying to be a thing. Now that I feel was a little different because Rachel and Ross were in love and they dated. So I do think it was kind of messy territory for Joey to then develop a crush.
It was weird.
It was weird. Yeah, it was. We're running out of ideas.
And especially because they're such a close-knit group.
Mm-hmm.
It's not like outlier friend. Like, they see each other every single day. They live across the frickin' hall from each other.
Mm-hmm.
And Ross is his best friend. Like, it's weird. It's weird that they made that part of the storyline. It just, like, realistically, the friendship would fall apart.
Right. Well, and then, we can't not bring up How I Met Your Mother with Robin and
Barney
and Ted.
Oh,
Yes.
my gosh.
Yeah. Then you got Pacey and Joey and Dawson and Dawson's Creek. So it's definitely a trope that we've seen over and over again. And it also kind of reinforces that idea of dibs, of when is the right time, when are your feelings actually wrong in the first place. It's actually the best storyline.
How I Met Your Mother is a really good example because I think the way Ted reacts in that situation is realistic. And I think the way things pan out after, like, Robin and Barney break up and she's dating someone new, she realizes, like, I have to step away. I need to take some space from you guys because this is weird. This is actually very weird.
Yeah. Yeah. And it was. And if you're in that real life situation where maybe you are in a group of friends, a co-ed group of friends that includes people who've once dated before, and you start to develop feelings for somebody within that group, that can definitely be cause for a fracture in the group or maybe one or two of you just needing space. So I think it can get murky once we start talking about relationships.
Totally. Okay. Myth number 3. And we have talked about this extensively in episode 13, Can Men and Women Really Just Be Friends? And episode 25 from our TV That Raised Us series, where we talk about Can Men and Women Just Be Friends? So that is the myth here. Men and women can't be friends / you can't be friends with an ex. Let's talk about why people believe this.
Men and women can't be friends. I feel like the pop culture reference that most people will go to is the movie When Harry Met Sally, because that question was so central to that plot, right? Where you have these two people who are friends over a 9-year period of time. And it's one of the questions that Harry brings up very early in their, not even friendship, in their interaction, just telling her, like, men and women can't be friends because it is impossible for men to not want to sleep with women. And a woman that's giving him attention is going to be someone that he wants to sleep with. And he kind of busts his own myth through part of that movie when they really are relying on each other as they're both going through different hardships and breakups. But then he falls right into that trap at the end because they do end up falling in love and being together. So in many ways, it sort of ends that debate in pop culture of, like, yeah, see, they can't just be friends because now, in this movie, they're married. But at the same time, you and I both have such enriching friendships with men that it's impossible for me to say no, that they can't.
And here's the thing. It is possible with boundaries, maturity, communication, like boundaries and transparency. That is key to maintaining a truly platonic relationship. With exes, sometimes a deep friendship can remain once romance fades if respect and closure are in place. And it has to be in place for both of you. Like, you have to both 100% be done romantically. And that is generally why people think men and women can't be friends and exes can't be friends, because there is such a high percentage that really can't.
And even in my own life, like, I am friends with one ex only, like, that's about it. There's really no other ones that I would even want to, like, have social interactions with at this point. So I understand that myth being reinforced because a lot of people don't get out of relationships very well, or it's a one-sided breakup. So, yeah, how can you be friends with someone who still is pining for you or they haven't gotten closure yet from that relationship? So, yeah, circumstantially, I think it can happen. Like, again, going to pop culture, like Elaine and Jerry are like the perfect example. I think most viewers, if you weren't watching early on, you would never even have known that they dated.
Oh my gosh, it's so platonic.
Mm-hmm.
It's so incredibly platonic. And I know I've talked about the scene before where like Jerry finds out that he never
Yes.
made Elaine climax, and he was like, "Give me a chance," and
Yeah.
she's like, "Fine," and then he couldn't perform. But what's funny is she was like, "We can't do this; it'll ruin our friendship." But then by them not doing it, it was ruining their friendship.
Yeah.
I just love that they still prioritize the friendship. This is for the friendship.
Absolutely. And then they were fine after that. They just bounced right back after
Yep.
that. So, yeah, I think that's a great example. Or even just in male-female dynamics. Like, I personally always loved, if you watched the show 30 Rock, Liz and Jack had such a great platonic dynamic. And
the best friendship. He was like her mentor.
Yeah, but they also had like a deeper layer of love and respect for each other that I thought was so pure. And there were a few episodes where they kind of like created a circumstance where something could happen between the two of them, and it just never did. And not because either one of them wanted to or didn't want to, but to the viewer, it seemed like something could happen, but to them as characters, you knew it was never going to happen.
Yeah.
And this is why I love the new show Platonic, Robin, that you turned me on to.
Yes.
Because, wow, what an absolute masterclass on how you can maintain a friendship with someone of the opposite sex, in the sense that there's no sexual chemistry between the two leads at all.
Not at all.
There's not even a hint of like pining or longing, but there is a deep love for each other that is so apparent. But the show does a great job of tackling how other people perceive their friendship. And
yes,
that's why I love it so much, because they're in this bubble. Like, they don't even see that it's weird that they hang out all the time. But other people have a problem with it.
Well, and just the situations that they end up in, that's what makes it questionable, because
Right.
the other people, they're not there. And so when you if you were to explain it as an outlier,
Right.
you would question it.
Right.
Absolutely.
100%. So I really like that show because I have had great relationships with guys before. I have a really great friendship with an ex, and who I wouldn't even call an ex anymore. It's just like a dear friend. So for me, I'm always going to be team men and women can be friends.
Yeah.
And I really, really would challenge the listener to take a step back from this myth, because you really could be denying yourself of a really great connection and companionship just because of this stupid myth that like you can't be friends with that person,
Right. Friendship is about boundaries. And as long as you are both respectfully maintaining those boundaries, I don't see any reason why you can't have a friendship with the opposite gender.
Mm-hmm.
It's just, there's always so much gray area in real life that sometimes people lie.
Mm-hmm.
And you end up in these disappointed. This is a really complex myth.
Yeah.
Because it's partially not a myth. It's only a myth if everyone's in on the communication, the boundary setting. You all have to be in on it.
Right.
And that's hard to find, in my opinion.
It is, for sure. For sure.
And sometimes I think even for me as the female, if I know I'm not romantically interested in a guy, but I can tell he is, but he's still being a friend, I'm the one that's having to set boundary after boundary for them to understand where I stand. And then they slowly get on board, right?
Mm-hmm. You just got to make them unattracted to you, because that is the linchpin that is keeping them, maybe in that gray area. And you just got to pull that linchpin out by being like, oh my God, I had the worst period shits today. Just tell him about day 2 of your cycle. And I promise you, they will never see you in the same light again. And that's going to be for everybody's benefit, And
that's a great ender to that myth number 3.
Okay, myth number 4. It's so true. It's the worst. It's like roadkill. Just, what is that?
Oh my God.
Okay. Okay, myth number 4. You can't be friends with someone who has different values or beliefs. This feels very very timely to talk about because we live in such a divisive world right now, between politics, religion, different lifestyles. Just everything feels so divisive. And it's almost like there's no gray area. It's like you either have to be all in or not at all. We've seen so much cancel culture and there's just so much polarization going on and a huge pressure to cut people off that don't align with you 100%. So I think the line between different and deal breaker is very apparent these days.
Yeah, some values may be deal breakers, like human rights issues, but not every difference has to be. Like, friendship can thrive on curiosity, respect, and learning from each other's perspectives. And, I have a couple of friends that I know have different political views from me, but they still are pro-choice.
Right.
They still care about women's rights. Like, I know I have very different political views from them, but we just don't have those kinds of discussions that are going to cause conflict. Because for me, like, politics are important, yes. It doesn't make our friendship important, like whether or not we have those kinds of discussions. Like, friendship involves so much more. So much more. And you can't control politics the way you could control your relationship with a friend.
Right.
So I'm going to control our conversations. I'm going to refrain from talking about those difficult topics that I know, actually, I don't know that one of us will get worked up over. I just don't want to have those kinds of discussions sometimes. And that's okay.
And it is totally okay. And I think it's so circumstantial, and I totally get it. I totally understand the argument of cutting someone off if their worldview directly harms you or the community that you're a part of or a community that you're an ally to, right? I don't think I could really be friends with anybody who was homophobic. We wouldn't have those values aligned because I just do not see the world that way, right?
Well, and you and I, we both have siblings.
Right, exactly. So for me, I'm like, I just don't think you understand. And I also have friends that are pro-life, right? And I am a huge supporter of women's rights. I think the difference is that sometimes you can find the through line of where you both agree, right? And you have to really look yourself in the mirror and ask, am I just wanting to live in my own echo chamber? Is it okay for me to be challenged? And can we learn from each other? And I think most of the time you can learn from each other.
And honestly, a perfect example is my husband, Seth. He is so good at carrying on a conversation with anyone, regardless of their views. And it's really cool to see because, like, I do not have that grace.
Me neither. I have no patience.
But I sure enjoy watching it. Like, he is all of those things. He's curious.
Yeah.
He discusses his own viewpoints. And, like, because of his curiosity and willingness to listen, like, they're more willing to listen to him.
And that can bridge a lot of potential arguments, right? If you just lead with curiosity and you learn more, and then you give that other person the opportunity to learn about your belief system, you can actually create a much deeper bond. Now, I would be hypocritical if I did not point out a big factor in my relationship ending. Our belief systems were not only polar opposite, I no longer felt safe in that relationship because of what I was learning about his worldview and his values and beliefs. So if you're in a friendship dynamic where your friend's worldview and what they support happening makes you feel unsafe, then I think it's completely appropriate to say, I don't want this energy in my life anymore.
Absolutely.
I can't sit here and say, like, everybody should just get along and try to keep it high level and find a common ground. Some topics, there is no common ground, in my opinion.
Yeah, absolutely.
So, I don't know. I don't know how I feel about this one.
Well, let's talk about one of our favorite pop culture references, Parks and Rec.
Obviously.
Leslie Knope, who is known as a progressive, and Ron Swanson, who is a libertarian.
Yeah.
They're polar opposites, but they have one of the strongest friendships.
That's a great point. That's a great point. And they both work in government, so their belief systems directly impact the work that they do.
He even helps her campaign for city council.
Yeah. Right.
I think that it's an art form, the way they craft that relationship, because they do discuss politics a lot, but it's always lighthearted.
Mm-hmm.
And I don't know, the way Leslie takes it.
Yeah.
The way she gives it back to him. I think Ron remained a libertarian in a lot of ways, but his views were definitely shifted by his experience from working in that office with those people, and definitely his relationship with Diane and 2 daughters. He had a lot of growth throughout that series, for sure.
Yeah, absolutely. And, I will say in my last relationship, there was a kind of sweet spot for a while where I did appreciate having my views tested, and really made me pull back and kind of examine, am I actually being narrow-minded?
Right.
Am I actually the one that is, potentially falling for propaganda? Or have I not really put this under a critical lens? And then I was like, no.
Well, I'm going to throw a stat at you.
Okay.
Pew Research in 2023 found that 63% of Americans have at least one close friend with opposing political views. So there you go. Everything we've been talking about, it's in alignment. I would say, right now during this political environment, that percentage might have changed a bit.
A little bit.
But in general, that just goes to show, you can be friends with someone who has different values and beliefs. It's just whether or not they respect yours.
Exactly.
I think that's the biggest thing.
Yeah, find that middle ground. See if you do have any type of overlap of commonalities. A lot of times you actually are agreeing to the same thing. It's just the execution of how it's done that varies.
Yeah.
So I think you can definitely be friends with someone who doesn't share the same views.
For sure. And I think that's healthy.
So healthy.
I think it's healthy to have very different friendships, but you're able to have deep connections with all of them.
Yeah.
That's how you change your own worldviews.
Right. And if nothing else, opposition research.
Opposition research.
What does the other side think about this? I think it is good and healthy, honestly, every once in a while to say, this is how I interpreted this event. How did you interpret this event?
Yeah.
Just so I can understand what I'm missing here.
You know what else this makes me think of? Cults.
Yeah. Cults.
When you get into a cult, they don't want you to know anybody else's worldview.
Right. Yeah.
Tunnel vision is what they want you to have. Do what I say, be my slave.
Yeah. So don't be in a cult. Have somebody who's going to challenge you.
Any friend that expects you to think exactly the way they do is not your friend.
Mm-hmm.
Okay, our 5th and final myth. Didn't mean to make that rhyme.
It didn't.
True. 5th and myth.
Oh, I thought you meant 5th and final.
No, those don't rhyme, Deborah.
I know. I was like, they sure didn't.
Our 5th and final myth. True friends never let you down. And I remember once upon a time having this belief.
Yeah.
And sometimes, it's a hard belief to knock because you don't ever want to be let down by someone you care about. It's heartbreaking.
Of course.
But let's talk about why people believe this. Social media, for one, pushes the idea that real friends are always perfect, supportive, and present. Fucking social media.
Mm-hmm.
But friendships aren't Disney movies, okay? People mess up. And what matters is accountability.
Yeah. And it's also, when you are so close to someone, you have probably let them into the most vulnerable parts of your life. And they know all your secrets. And they also know what would disappoint you or hurt you. So when they do that thing that hurts you, it can feel like such a betrayal.
Yeah.
And I mean, I think we've all had moments with our friends that are currently best friends with, where you have a fight and you're like, well, I guess that's it. I guess that's it. There we go. Friendship over.
Yeah.
Mostly when you're younger, right? When you're in high
Yeah.
school and you get into a fight with someone, you're like, I guess, okay, cool. I guess we were never friends. And it's really easy to just kind of have an extreme reaction to being hurt. But at the same time, real friends understand how to repair things that they've hurt.
Yes. Repair and rebuild. That's what makes a good friend because we are human. We will disappoint each other. We will make mistakes. But how you value that friendship and how you show up after is what makes all the difference. Like, do they feel remorse? Do they want to fix it? Do they want to make it up to you?
Mm-hmm.
Do they want to show you that they would never, do something like that again? That's key.
Yeah, 95% of what you do in life is a reaction. And you might not be in control of the inciting, incident or event, but how you react is everything. And sometimes people need a little bit of time to cool off and realize, like, oh man, I was actually the one that was in the wrong. Because very rarely is someone going to disappoint you and then immediately be like, oh my God, I shouldn't say very rarely, but it won't always be the case that someone disappoints you and they realize it right away, right?
Totally.
Like, usually if you've gotten to that point, there have been a series of miscommunications. And so you're going to go through ups and downs and maybe even periods of time where you're not on the same page as your friend, right? But the true test of friendship is, are you willing to do the work? Are you willing to repair it? Are you willing to rebuild? And that effort can really take your friendship to a whole new level.
Exactly. And we have a stat here from psychologist John Gottman.
I love him.
Love the Gottmans.
Mm-hmm.
His research on relationships shows that rupture and repair cycles are normal. It's not about never failing, but repairing trust afterwards. This is something that we uphold in our romantic relationships every day.
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, if you're going to be in a long-term committed relationship or even a marriage, like these cycles are regularly scheduled programming.
Yes, exactly. And honestly, like, the older I've gotten, the easier, like, it's been to have this kind of mentality, as much as it still sucks when there's conflict or I feel like someone has wronged me, because then I have to go through the emotions of feeling hurt, but then it's also on me to let them know that they hurt me.
Mm-hmm.
And so that's been a big learning curve for me, is like learning how to be open and honest and not afraid that by speaking my truth, that's what's going to be the friendship ender.
Yeah.
If the person actually cares about our relationship, they're going to want to repair that and talk through it.
Right.
And that's what I have to remind myself, is it wasn't their intention to hurt your feelings. They care about you, but you have to let them know.
Right.
You have to give them the opportunity to repair.
Yeah, absolutely.
So there you have it. Real friendship isn't about never letting each other down. It's about showing up again after you do.
Great. Okay, let's go on to our next segment, our class act of the week. This is where we highlight an event, a person, or even a parasocial relationship that we feel was just so classy. And this week, we have another listener submission.
Yay! So I'm going to read this one.
Okay.
This is from Cynthia from Michigan. This week's class act comes from a 25th high school reunion. Now, reunions can feel like a competition. Everyone showing up polished, everyone delivering their little elevator pitch of how life has turned out. And at first, that's exactly what it was, a swirl of quick check-ins, fancy cocktails on trays, and subtle comparisons. But here's where the class came in. Over the course of the night, the performance started to fade. Once the drinks kicked in and the nostalgia crept out, people stopped selling their resumes and started remembering the little things. Sneaking behind the scoreboard, getting caught at camp, laughing over childhood mischief. The pressure to impress gave way to something real, connection. And that's the heart of it. True class isn't about being the most polished in the room or having the flashiest update. It's about showing up authentically, letting the masks slip, and remembering that we're all just humans doing our best, carrying 25 years of life since those school days. The class act? Choosing authenticity over performance, because no matter where the reunion is held or how impressive the setting looks, the real magic happens when we stop trying to look perfect and simply show up as ourselves.
Oh,
that is so good.
That is so good. We love to hear it.
How well does that tie into our classy combo today?
I know, because it's true. I mean, it touches on childhood friendships, just all the different ways that we feel like we need to behave when we are around people who either knew us for a long time or we haven't seen in a while. So, yeah, that's great.
So good.
Okay, let's land this plane with our final segment and one of our favorites, our class or crass. Robin, are you ready for this week's scenario?
I am ready.
All right. You tell us, was this classy or crassy? Your best friend has been acting a little shady lately, dropping comments in the group chat that feel a little too close to the things that only you told them. You start to wonder if your ride or die is actually leaking your secrets. So one night, you decide to test them. You text a fake confession. Don't tell anyone, but I hooked up with my ex last night. 3 days later, your phone blows up. Memes, jokes, side eyes. Somehow, the group knows about your secret. The friend swears they didn't say anything, but clearly somebody talked. So now the question is it classy to test your friend's loyalty this way or crass because you planted a trap in the first place?
Honestly, I don't think either scenario is classy. They're both pretty crass. I think testing your friend in that way, like, you're just causing more problems because you lied. And that's going to be what they focus on when you confront them. And, like, you just need to address this head on.
Yeah, if this was an Am I the Asshole submission, I would say everybody's the asshole here because obviously your friend is not someone that you can trust with information because you don't trust her with information if you're getting to the point where you need to like put out a little trap for somebody to fall into, right?
Yeah, this is definitely like early mid-20s vibes to me.
Yeah.
Like, this is not something I would see myself or any of my friends doing at this point in our lives, but those people do exist,
100%.
and they're called the Real Housewives.
They are. And let me tell you, like, sometimes I take for granted how healthy our group of friends are because I will tell you, like, I knew somebody, an old job, and I literally sat with her and her high school best friend. Mind you, she was older than me by at least 10 years. And they saw a third friend walk in and they were both like, oh my God, I can't believe she's here. Oh my God. Just talking full blown shit about her. And then what happens when she walks up? Hey, how are you? It was literally
Yes.
the fakest thing I've ever seen in my entire life.
Dude.
And this was the third person of their, like, we've been friends from high school trio.
Oh my gosh. This is just like the White Lotus trio.
Yes.
Those
Yeah.
women who were best friends from childhood.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
Every chance they got, there were two of them talking about the third person that wasn't there. They all did it.
They all did it. Yeah. So it's definitely like, you know, you get into those, well, so-and-so told me this. Like, don't tell her I told you this, but this happened. And, you know, my advice is don't engage in gossip with your friends. Because once you've established that you're willing to listen to another friend betray someone else's trust by telling you a secret they're not supposed to tell you, you're kind of approving of that behavior in general, right?
Yeah.
And so I think the easiest thing to do is just to say, you know what? If they told you not to say anything, I really don't want to hear it. I'd rather not know, you know?
Yeah. You've said this before.
I've said it before, and I think it's a really good thing because otherwise it's so easy to be like, oh my God, tell me everything. Oh my God, such gossip. But you're not really being authentically a good friend if you engage in that. So you can already set your own standards by setting that tone that that's how you behave. If you're in a group of friends where you're afraid that someone is sharing something they weren't supposed to, then you already are in kind of a bad situation, in my opinion.
Totally. Agreed. Like, I don't know. Your best friend, this is your best friend.
Mm-hmm.
That's what you led with. Like, this whole scenario is your best friend, and you can't trust your best friend. That's a red flag.
Or just maybe a dynamic where you guys feed off drama, right? And so if you're going to feed off drama, then it kind of becomes a diet that you rely on and you just sort of keep feeding it, and then it's what you consume. And that might work for some people. That does not work for me.
Nope. Not at this point in our lives. Sometimes it really pays off being older.
It really does. You would hope.
Yeah. You would hope. And I mean, these conversations that we have every week kind of prove that. Obviously, like, being youthful is great, having the energy and the looks and all of that, but we've got some pretty strong, badass friendships.
Mm-hmm. Right. We don't tolerate petty bullshit.
Nah.
Not anymore.
Nope.
So crass it is.
Crass indeed.
All right, well, that does it for today's episode. So whether it's redefining girl code or realizing true friends don't have to be perfect, remember, friendship is flexible. It grows as we do.
The old rules don't serve us anymore. What matters is honesty, boundaries, and the people who show up even after making mistakes.
If today's episode made you rethink your own rules, share it with your friend and start that conversation.
Follow us on Instagram and TikTok at artofclassiness or email us at artofclassiness@gmail.com to share your thoughts and stories.
Thanks for listening, and remember, classy is a state of mind.
So mind your classiness. Bye!